Okay, summer is starting to come to the end of summer. Kids getting ready to go back to school. Chainsaw season will be starting shortly, I'm sure. In this area, it starts on the day that it hits -4 degrees. That's when everybody comes out with their chainsaws. So I'm doing something a little different today. Typically, with my lawn mower or small engine repair business, I've been jumping right into the topic and getting to work. But today I'm going to do something a little different. I've got two chainsaws. One was given to me, and I just did a video on this. This one, as a matter of fact, I'll put an up next box at the end of this video to that video, but I'm not a big fan of sending somebody off to another video just to come back to watch this one. So I'll explain what I did real quick. Somebody put regular gas in instead of 2-cycle gas. So it locked, well, it didn't lock up. The pistons, the rings on the pistons wore away, so it didn't have any compression. So I bought a rebuild kit with the rings and the pistons and the cylinder head, and it worked for about 30 seconds, and there was a failure on the squirrel cage. And so in that other video, you'll see it's a little bearing. Again, you don't have to go watch it. I'm just telling you what, there's a little bearing, and it wasn't manufactured correctly. And I should have just trusted my instinct and not changed it, but I changed it. So my rebuild worked perfect for 30 seconds until it popped out this little clip and tore it up. Well, I went and bought an entire engine. So the rebuild kit was $20. The entire engine was $30. And it didn't have any compression. When I got it all together, it didn't have any compression. So I returned it, or I'm getting ready to return it, but I've already went through the return process. They're sending me a new one. And I've also ordered an ignition coil just for the sake of argument. So essentially, this entire chainsaw, which is this is a steel MS 170. It's like the smallest of their line, the steel line. So, but essentially, the only thing they're going to have on this chainsaw that's original is the case. Not even the bar is original, because when I got it, the lady gave it to me because it wasn't working anymore. It's not even a steel bar. So everything is going to be different. Because I've changed the carburetor, I've changed the engine, and I'm going to change the ignition coil. Of course, we got the flywheel and, you know, the clutch and all that, but most of it is going to be new. So the three major things that keeps an engine from running is lack of fuel, some sort of fuel issue. So it could be a fuel line or a carburetor. No spark, so that's either a spark plug or ignition coil. So the ignition coil's right here. That's the carburetor, spark plug, or compression. So compression is the engine. That's the piston when it comes up creating pressure. So the three things that makes an engine run have been or are going to be replaced. Now, when I did it, a lot of people criticized me, said I should have bought original equipment for that engine. You know, you pay for what you get what you pay for. Well, I'm doing it as an experiment. My goal is to sell this for $150 or so. And the thing is I'm only up maybe $80 if I count that initial one that failed. I could have returned it, but I didn't. So, you know, that's my cost. But the second one I did return. So I'm not out a lot of money. And I want to experiment with these engines. If it is a solution for my customers to buy a new $30 engine and replace it, let's say it doesn't work and I have to go return it and do another one. If I can save them money to get another few seasons out of their chainsaw instead of having to go out and buy a brand new one, let's say that engine worked. So $30 to buy the engine, you know, another $50 in labor, so you're up $80. It's a lot better than going out and buying a $200 chainsaw to get you a few more seasons. And it kind of makes sense. You know, trying to figure out how to save money for my customers, I think, is very important. So you can call me a cheapskate all you want. I'm actually spending money to get an education on this, because my thinking is if I can find a good solution, you know, I'm learning what can I do to save my customers money? I'm going to get more customers. So you can call me cheapskate all you want. I'm not going to lose money. I'm going to stop before I lose money. But heck of an education. Now this next one is a monster. This is not the bottom of the line. This is obsolete. They don't make these anymore. This is an MS290. I think the newest one's a 291. The only reason they stopped making this one is because of EPA regulations. They had to improve it, so they just went to a different numbering system. This, I believe, is the top of the line for home use. After this, you know, you get into the professional models where it's got the compression knob and all that kind of stuff on it. This is the big mama jama. Wanted to see if this runs, so we're going to diagnose this one also. But obviously, you should be able to see there's a few things missing. The clutch assembly is missing, and the brake. There is no brake around here. So that's actually not very expensive to replace. So we're going to get I'll just replace the whole clutch assembly because I bought the kit. And that's the thing about Amazon, is everything comes in a kit. And then I had to buy, I'm not sure, I think I had to buy or I haven't bought it yet actually, but the brake. Yeah, I haven't bought it yet because we want to diagnose this first. But I looked up all the parts to see if it was even feasible. Now this thing, Facebook Marketplace, they're selling from anywhere from $250 to $350, some cases $400. So if I can get this up and running, it's going to have mostly original equipment on it. The bar and the chain is actually the most expensive thing of the missing components right now. So that I think was $40 for the cheap one I could find. And then of course the side cover is missing. Again, that was pretty cheap. I think $10. So, but I wondered before I bought anything to make sure this runs. So when you go through the diagnostic process, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check the fuel system. It's the easiest thing to check without tearing a lot of stuff apart. So we're just going to take off the cover here. We're going to take off the air filter. This is the winter separator thingy. So you put that in there in the winter time, or I guess summertime. We're going to take the air filter off. Now there's no gas in it, so we'll have to put some gas in it to check it. Don't put a lot of gas in it. There's no reason to. You just want to start it to see if it's going to start, or put enough in it to see if it's going to start or run, because you're just going to have to dump it out again if you're going to work on it. Now, what we can do is try to pull it, wear yourself out if it's not going to start. The easiest thing to do to get yourself an idea of what you got is get yourself starter fluid. I just find this easier. You'll get on YouTube and you'll watch these mechanics. They'll pull on it half a dozen times trying to see if it's going to start, and they end up doing this anyways. I say start out with this. If it runs, great. Shut it off, start it again without starting fluid. But this thing's been sitting for how many years? There is a good chance the carburetor isn't going to work. So don't beat yourself to death. I say work smarter, not harder. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the choke is open. We're going to press the trigger. That opens up the throttle. So when we put starter fluid in it, it will go straight into the throat of the carburetor. Well, it started. Well, that was interesting. So I bought this for $25, I think, and it was basically a trade on labor. I think it was a deck rebuild I did, a mower deck rebuild. And he said, "You want this?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And he says, "Take off a little bit on the deck rebuild." Okay. So here's what we got. It did start. That's great. So everything works. This I messed up. I wasn't thinking when I started it. There's a clutch cover. It goes on top of this, and I didn't put it on. Well, it's missing. There's no way to put it on. Let's see if I can show you what a clutch cover looks like. This is a clutch cover. This one's not big enough. That goes to that little chainsaw. So what happened was the clutch came out and had nothing to stop it up against this cover. So that's not a big deal. The other thing is the carburetor does need to be adjusted. That typically happens when they dry out like that. So that's easy to do. You come in here and you can adjust the carburetor from here. And the other issue is the shutoff was not connected up correctly. This simply pops out. This rod here pops out. So this metal piece was underneath it. So what you want is this ground to the spark plug, well, the ignition coil actually, to hit the metal piece here. So you should be able to see that this metal piece is going to hit that metal piece. That would shut it off. But that metal piece was up underneath here. It wasn't in the right spot. So I fixed that off camera. And that's pretty incredible. This is a nice chainsaw. So really looks like the only thing we have to do is replace the clutch. I mean, it was going to have to be replaced anyways, whether I mess this up or not. It did kind of wear some of the plastic down a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. And we can, I'll take that off, the old one, because it looks like I broke it. Might be why maybe it was broke. So we'll just take that off and replace the whole thing. It comes in the kit, so it doesn't matter. That's fantastic. I would like to start it again so we can adjust the carburetor, but I can't because that's on it. I don't want to hurt it anymore. I mean, I could probably take that off, but I'm not going to risk it. I think the hardest thing about this one is going to be the cleanup. I don't know why he gave it to me for such a cheap price. It's this chainsaw is going to be profitable. So, kind of thinking about this now, I've experimented with that little chainsaw, the the MS-170. This is an MS-290. So, doing some experimenting, and I might get my money. Well, I'll definitely get my money back on it. I won't lose any money as long as I can get it running. But then I got this one where I paid 25 bucks for, and I'm going to have to put in probably another, I don't know, maybe 60 bucks to get the clutch and everything to work. And then I can sell this one. So any money, I mean, I'm going to make a ton of money off this one. So that would pay for some of the cost of that other one. My intention is to set up a stand somewhere. Carolyn's going to sell some crochet at the yearly civic center thing. So I'll put a table up. We can put the chainsaws or whatever I have available, and we can put it next to her crochet. And we can sell it for the fall sale. I'm really excited about this. You know, I every time I get one, I want to keep it because I don't have fancy tools. I got an old Ryobi Home Depot chainsaw. I don't have steel chainsaws, but I don't have any purpose for them. I mean, I cut firewood, but you know, a tiny house, I got 15 years worth of firewood. I'm not going to use it that much, so it's better to get the money out of them. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to that video where I was putting in that engine. So hope I can inspire you to get lucky sometimes so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.